Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. Just ahead tonight, how to prevent and not just treat chronic illness. But first tonight, a milestone for the Maryland Lottery and Gaming Control Agency. Joining us to answer your questions is Lottery Director Gordon Medenica. Gordon, thanks for stopping by.
Oh, thanks for inviting us again. This is a great year to be coming here and talking about the lottery and gaming, that's for sure.
You have some big news, you have big numbers, $2 billion in sales.
That's right. On the lottery side, first time ever over $2 billion, and more importantly, the money that we made, $575 million, is an all-time record along with the sales. And of course, with the sales, there's lots of other records that were set, prizes to players, commissions for our retailers, just across the board. Very good year, I have to say.
It's interesting when you think back to the fight about approving casino gambling, slots and then full casinos. The assumption was it was going to eat into lottery revenue for the state treasury. Yeah. We haven't seen it.
Well, you know, we did for a couple of years. Lottery revenues actually went down back in 2012, 2013. But certainly from my experience in New York, we knew that the lottery and the casinos could coexist and coexist well. So certainly for the last 3 years, we've continued to set sales records. And of course, the casino side of the business is going gangbusters.
And you run, as the name of your agency suggests, you have oversight of
Yep.
both sides. All right, let's start with the lottery
Sure.
for a second. Where's the growth coming from? What games?
Interestingly, it's coming from the instant category, which is a lot of games. We launch probably 50 instant tickets over the course of any year. And there's a monthly launch cycle. We're constantly throwing new games into the marketplace.
You have one that's like a scratch and sniff Old Bay.
Absolutely. We did a deal with Old Bay, and that's a current ticket. And it is a scratch and sniff, and so people are having a lot of fun with that. But we
So you win either way, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Just don't let that stuff come down on your food, that's for sure. Willy Wonka was a great ticket for us, still is a great ticket. We did a licensed ticket with Marilyn Monroe, and some of those nostalgia tickets do really well. So the instant category has really been the growth driver for years now.
Now, just recently, we had one of the big jackpot games.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Mega Millions or Powerball, but one of them was hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And there's a sense that maybe it's not what it used to be when it gets that big?
Absolutely. You know, it used to be that we would start advertising when the jackpot got to like 75 million, and then you would stop at about 200 million because what we call earned media would take over. In other words, free publicity.
The local news, right?
Now, you know, people are not excited until you get to maybe 200 million. So the whole level at which it becomes a sort of a cultural phenomenon has just rapidly moved up over the years.
The concept of people not being excited for less than 200 million is...
It's mind-boggling.
It's American money, right?
Well, and you know, it's one of the biggest marketing dilemmas in the business is, you know, that 100 million isn't attractive to some people.
Well, I see your billboards, and you have a number of ways of presenting the current jackpots.
Absolutely.
Side by side, Powerball, Mega Millions.
Yep.
Because, so it must be a driver of sales, you think?
It's a very visible game, but it's not that significant in our portfolio. Both those games together represent less than 10% of our revenue. I think people are surprised by that.
Interesting.
Our biggest games are the daily numbers games, pick 3, pick 4. The instant category is huge. And also our monitor games, Keno and Racetracks, are very big, maybe 27% of our sales. So I think everybody recognizes the brand names of Mega and Powerball, but they're not that big. And they are highly volatile, as you can imagine, from when the jackpots go up and down.
Right, because really, who wants to win, you know, 5 million or something? We'll come back to that. Let's talk casinos.
Absolutely.
The big driver on the casino side of your revenue was the opening for the full fiscal year, and the state fiscal year is July 1. of MGM National Harbor.
Absolutely. MGM has been amazing for us. It's been about a year and a half since I've been open, but as you said, this is the first year that they've been open for a full year in our fiscal calendar. What's interesting is that, first of all, Maryland Live is neck and neck, still continuing to do well. And the casino operators keep investing in the properties. And I think that's very important to keep the customers coming back. MGM just launched a whole second floor of their gaming floor. Live just opened a new hotel at their facility. Horseshoe is buying up property around. They're going to launch Top Golf, and there's some other related activities that they're planning for that space between the casino and the stadium. So the casinos recognize that you can't stand still, and they're doing a great job, obviously. And it was just last year, it was the first year that the casino side of the business actually made more money than the lottery side. This year, again, the growth was expected because we had the full year with MGM, but at $676 million, it's the bigger contributor now to our good causes.
Has MGM hurt any of the neighboring or smaller
casinos? Well, they've taken market share, which was anticipated, and it was anticipated even in the law because Horseshoe and Live both got tax breaks when MGM opened. So they were somewhat anticipated and certainly compensated for that loss of market share. Interestingly, what we've seen just in the last couple months are now all of the casinos sort of reaching their new platform and all of them growing simultaneously. That's a great sign. It sort of means that the market share changes have probably rippled through the system at this point.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question for the head of the Lottery and Gaming Control Agency, so this could be about lottery questions or casino questions, give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You can also email your questions. The email address is livequestions@mpt.org. Send us a note. So what else is happening on the casino side? You regulate the casinos. You have regulatory oversight.
I prefer to say we have a partnership with our casinos.
Well, somebody has to regulate the casinos.
we
if
do
it's
that,
not
absolutely.
You.
But we take a very business-like approach, and we view the casinos as our partners, and it's very much in our interest to have them do well. So even in our regulatory function, it's very cooperative, collegial. We work together. It's not an adversarial role at all.
There's a lot of money involved. Any mischief? Any issues you've had to deal with?
There's a constant monitoring of incidents at the casinos, but I think they're similar to what you would find at any venue that has tens of thousands of people coming through them every weekend, every weekday. So, whether it's a low-level theft or something like that, we knock on wood, haven't had any big fraudulent activity or anything like that.
Ocean's 11 or anything.
No. Yeah.
Let's go to the phones. Ramona in Baltimore County, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, you're on. What's your question?
Hi, my question is in regards to the melon and the profit that they're making. Years ago, it was started for the purpose of helping our schools, and our schools don't seem to be making as much profit as the lottery. I want to know what they intend to do with the profits that they make to help our city and our county schools.
Great phone call. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, a lot of this money, there's a whole issue which we can get into, and you're not on the political side. But I believe on the November ballot, there's going to be a question about a lockbox. It was how it was described in the last legislative session, to mandate that the casino money go to education, but most of it already does.
Yes, and it always has, but that is a very common misperception out there because the promise was that the money would go to the Education Trust Fund. And for example, the bulk of the casino money, that's $676 million, almost $500 million, $500 million, went to the Education Trust Fund. But I think what confuses people is that even though the casino money definitely goes there, there's a whole other pool of financing. And over years, there has been some draining away of some of the other funding sources. So what the referendum is asking is that basically that it's not used as a supplemental fund, but really as a supplanting source of funds, so that it's locked in and goes to the education, but they can't sort of drain it out the back end, if you will.
Right, and your agency doesn't have anything to do with the
No, and all of our beneficiaries are laid out in statute. For example, on the lottery side, the bulk of the money goes to the general fund, which means that we support everything that the state supports, from education to public safety, transportation, those sorts of things.
There's an email question on the same topic. But that reminds me that this is not a new issue. I mean, when the lottery was first approved in Maryland, which I think dates to the 70s.
45 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same issue. It was going to fund education. The difficulty is when you have some extra money and you send it to education, is ensuring that the other money doesn't sort of leak out.
And to some extent on the lottery side, with it going to the general fund, there isn't that issue because we are just another source of revenue like taxes and things like that. In fact, we are the 4th largest revenue source for the state of Maryland. So.
Harford County, let's talk to Joe. Joe, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking the call.
You bet.
A question in regards to the casinos. Do they offer any educational services as to how to play the table games? I'd love to learn how to play craps.
You may regret that at some point, but thanks very much. We'll get you an answer on the air. Do the casinos have to I mean, it's in their interest to help people learn how to do this?
You know, it's interesting. They have very formalized programs for training dealers. Obviously, dealers have to be very expert at what they do. But I don't think they directly have a classroom setting for learning some of the table games. But I'm sure there's lots of private entrepreneurs out there willing to help.
Yeah, and obviously it's worth repeating every time we talk to you that the reason they're able to build those nice fancy casinos is that by and large people lose money there, and some people, and the same with the lottery of course, and some people actually are problem gamblers. The state did a study, it was, I forget the number, 2 or 3% really have a difficulty knowing when to not gamble. How do you help those people?
You know, we take responsible gambling very, very seriously. And one of the great things about Maryland is that we have one of the highest funding levels for responsible gaming. This year, it went up to $5.2 million. And for the first time now, through the agencies that we work through, they can offer free counseling to people who need help and who identify themselves. Of course, we have our voluntary exclusion program, so if someone feels that they need help resisting temptation, we can help with that as well.
That's like locking yourself out of the casino.
Absolutely. And you can sign up both on the casino side and the lottery side, although the bulk of our enrollees are on the casino side.
Right.
And then the casinos have the responsibility for identifying and spotting those people if they try to get in and steering them back out.
Let's go back to the phones. Baltimore County, this is Carol. Carol, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much this evening.
Sure.
I actually have like 2 questions. The first one is, years ago, you used to have the six numbers, and it was, I think, Wednesday and Saturday evening. And that seemed to be more profitable for the people and also for the state. And since when you changed it to the 5 numbers, I think you increased it to $2, it didn't seem to have the same type of effect that it did when it was $1 and it was twice a week. Do you ever think you're going to come back with that?
Well, I think you're talking about probably Powerball.
No, it was before Powerball. It was when you first had the lottery.
And Carol, before you go, what was the second question?
The second question is, you address the monies that you give to the education as if it was coming from the casinos. I remember when you first started the lottery, like almost 40 years ago, that money was promised, a lot of it was promised to go to education. I'd like to know what you did last year with the lottery money, how much you contributed to education from the lottery, not the casinos.
Very good. Carol, Thank you so much.
And let me just take that second one first, which is that the lottery funds, for the most part, go to the general fund of Maryland. So to the extent that the state of Maryland has a state education funding mechanism, our money becomes part of that.
Okay, and on the previous question, there was a predecessor to the big jackpot games.
Well, there were various in-state lotto games before we had the multi-jurisdiction games, and for the most part, once the multi-jurisdiction games, both Powerball and Mega, came in, they pretty much took the market share and took the customers from those smaller games.
Let's talk to Pearl in Baltimore City. Pearl, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to know why every card has to have for your computer. I have a Marilyn Monroe ticket. That's a losing ticket, but for a second chance to win, you have to dial MarylandLottery.com. What do you do when you don't have a computer? Are they going to have that with all the tickets now? They must think everybody has computers.
Good question. Thank you very much. There's the library, but is
Yeah.
there a phone way to do it?
And what she's talking about is our second chance drawing. And you can also sign up through a smartphone. So you don't necessarily have to have a fixed computer, but we have an app and you can do everything through your smartphone. In fact, you can scan the barcode on the ticket and it'll register that ticket to enter you in the second chance drawing.
You know, I had thought once Maryland had the lottery and then slots and then full casinos, that was going to be it in terms of gaming. We had maxed out, but we haven't maxed out because the Supreme Court has now allowed states to run or authorize sports books,
Absolutely.
which used to be a Vegas thing, and we're seeing neighboring states jumping right into it. What's your perspective on it?
Well, you know, I think there's general support in the state for sports betting. In fact, both the House and the Senate passed bills to authorize it. Unfortunately, they couldn't agree on joint language, and therefore nothing passed. And in Maryland, you have to go before the people, a referendum, and that only happens every 2 years. Unfortunately, this year is one of those 2 years. So now we've sort of missed that window of opportunity, and it'll be 2020 before it can be presented to a referendum. But I think everyone is confident that something will be presented.
How would you like to see it rolled out? I mean, if you get a voice in what the state does, because it could be just at the casinos, could be the racetracks, could conceivably be your lottery terminals at the 7-Eleven, or?
It can be, and in fact, you know, we're studying the situation very closely, and I think one of the advantages, if there's an advantage to maybe not being one of the first to move, is that we'll be able to see what other people do and what works. But I think there's such a range of bet types that I think different types of bets are more appropriate for different venues. Casinos having a full Las Vegas-style sports book, I think, very appropriate. But things like parlay betting that we've seen in Delaware, frankly, for years, may be more of a lottery product. So I think you'll see different products appropriate for different kinds of venues, but I think those are the clear favorites. And certainly the bills that were presented had the casinos, had the racetracks, didn't mention the lottery, but I think the lottery can also play a role. But all of the bills designated our agency as being the control agency for the activity when and if it happens.
All right, short of sports gambling, what's the next big thing for the state lottery?
Well, I think we're going to continue to grow on the instant side. And there, you know, we look at best practices across the industry. And we are very strong when we compare ourselves against other lotteries in our daily numbers games and our monitor games. Not so strong on the instant side. So some of the growth that we're seeing is because there is a lot of headroom. And so I think you'll certainly see that continue for a while. And certainly it's where we're putting our advertising and marketing effort.
Gordon Medenica runs the State Lottery and Gaming Control Agency. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jeff. This was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. When we come back, medical tips on preventing chronic disease.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
We are the curious.
Wow!
The adventurous.
Oh! Grr.
Those venturing out for the first time.
And those who've never lost our sense of wonder.
Whoa. You seen this?
We are the hungry.
The strong.
I must be the greatest!
The joyful.
A happy little cloud.
We believe there is always more we can uncover.
More we can explore.
We believe in the capacity for goodness.
And the potential for greatness.
The torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans.
PBS. PBS.
PBS.
Hi, my name is Stacy. I chose the Harry Potter series. I started reading it with my son when he was just like 2 years old, and I started reading it to him. By the time the final series were coming out, he was reading them to me. And it was like we grew up together reading the Harry Potter, so it became a family thing. And it was like the first books that really got him interested into reading. And now he's a literature major.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and my favorite book is the Chronicle of Narnia series. I discovered them as a child and discovered new lands through the wardrobe and met Aslan. But I really discovered this wonderful series when I read them to my children. Rereading them with them, I discovered the world in a whole different set of eyes. as they fell in love with it, I fell in love with it all over again, and they have truly become my favorite books.
Vote now for your favorite book at mpt.org/Great American Read.
Joining us for tonight's Your Health segment is Kim West, a certified registered nurse practitioner at the University of Maryland, St. Joseph Medical Center, Hereford Health Park. Kim, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We want to talk about chronic conditions. I was surprised to read that half of Americans have a chronic condition, and I guess that's not just like old folks. It's everybody.
It's everybody.
So in your practice, I mean, you see lots of people coming through lots of chronic conditions.
Well, we see a lot of hypertension, a lot of diabetes, obesity, cancer, high cholesterol. Those are the big ones that are leading to.
So how do you think, I mean, you treat all those, you help people manage that, but how do you think about whether we can prevent some or maybe all of them?
Well, I, of course, am the glass is half full. I believe that we can definitely do a much better job controlling chronic disease. Specifically, I think if everyone just really focuses on setting a goal, setting just one goal, and then making a plan to achieve that goal. So that's what I do most of the time when I'm in the rooms with my patients, is just meet them where they are so that we can set a realistic goal.
And it's easy to think about goals in the context of weight because it's easily measurable. Nobody has to draw blood. You just step on a scale. And weight feeds into some of the other conditions that we were talking about. So tell me about that conversation with somebody in a clinic room where you say, here's the BMI and you need to be here and you're there. What do you tell them?
Well, first of all, I tell them the hard news of exactly what their BMI is. A lot of times we, in the past, have kind of scurried about it, but now I think it's best to just...
It's not a secret. Here's the number.
Yeah, here's
right.
the number. You're obese or overweight. I think that just helping the patient to realize just the facts that can help them, such as there's 3,500 calories in a single pound, right? So let's just start with doing a little bit of exercise, 30 minutes every day, or even let's just start at 10 minutes a day. Can you do that? Or like I said, meet them where they are. Sometimes it's just a matter of them trying to find time with busy moms and busy dads and people working and everybody's stressed out. Just making themselves and their health a priority.
So the idea that the 3,500 calories is 1 pound, meaning that if you eat an extra 3,500, you're going to gain a pound. If you can somehow shave that off, maybe exercise a little bit, that'll help too, you could lose a pound.
Exactly.
And you see it work.
Yes.
And then you get into a virtuous cycle.
Yes, I think that just staying positive, no matter what the goal is, whether it be, making a simple list. If a patient perhaps has a barrier, say they are having cravings, they might not know how to deal with a craving.
So how do you deal with a craving?
Well,
Please
first
tell
off,
me.
yes. So educating patients that the craving's only going to last. Some cravings only last a minute. Other cravings can last up to 3 to 5 minutes, but that's one of the longest cravings. So just what you can do during that time frame, whether it be journaling or going for a walk or, again, coming up with creative solutions.
Glass of water sometimes.
Yes, glass of water.
So the other thing about chronic conditions is most people know if they're a bit overweight. There's some things that'll sneak up on you. Early stages of diabetes, high blood pressure, silent, but you want people to know so you can deal with it.
Right. So I was reading some interesting numbers today, and I was amazed that there are over what their estimate is, 63 million Americans that may not even know that they have diabetes or pre-diabetes. I think that is just mind-boggling to me. So I encourage all patients to get in and see their primary care doctor and be screened for these conditions that can be prevented. Elevated blood pressure, you're not going to feel the blood pressure most of the time. It's insidious, it's sneaky. And so you need to get in, you need to get screened.
Before the show we were talking, I was assuming that summertime was a quiet time at the clinic because it's not the cold and flu season yet, but it's not a quiet time. You're busy.
Yes. Well, another interesting factoid, that 73% of our visits throughout the year are to manage chronic conditions. And 91% of prescriptions written in this country are to manage a chronic condition. I just find that absolutely amazing.
All right, in a couple seconds, give me the argument for somebody to come in and just get a general checkup to find out what they might have going on.
Well, we're always looking at the obvious, the weight and the blood pressure and such, but we also want to make sure our patients are up to date with all their routine vaccinations.
We're going to leave it right there. We're out of time. Kim West, University of Maryland, St. Joseph Medical, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for Direct Connection, and have a good night.
Your health segments are a co-production of Maryland Public Television and the University of Maryland Medical System.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.